Highland Park.
Let the words of our mouth and meditation of our heart be acceptable in thy sight. O Lord, our strength, our Redeemer.
So be it. Welcome to Revive, ladies and gentlemen. This is DR 2020. I'm your co-host, Damien L. Butler.
I am your brother Roc up in here.
And we are here to bring it to you, to break down this whole leadership thing, what we're going to do with our life and how we're going to make it happen. We're going to talk about current events, time into leadership lessons.
Yeah.
And life lessons on how to make it through this crazy thing called life.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, how you feeling today, man?
I'm good. I'm tired, but, you know, I'm good.
We ain't too tired to talk leadership, though, right?
No, definitely. There's always time to teach. Always time to teach.
Of course, man. I mean, and look, in this day and age, we need good teaching, man. We need somebody to hold us accountable. And, you know, a lot of times, in real talk, some people don't have that person. They don't have a tangible person to be able to go to. And that's why I love this information age so much. That's why I love social media so much. I know everybody everybody got a mic in front of them. Everybody got a camera and everybody got something to say. Well, you know what? Good that a lot of people got something to say. Now it's going to challenge you how to chew the meat and spit out the bone.
There you go.
We're being lazy. You know what I'm saying? We always run into somebody who we feel that they got all the information. But a lot of hidden gems have been found in our ghettos across of America, in our rural areas across of America. All the people that we shut out and that we've disconnected from, these are some of the people that's, i.e., leading our world today, right?
It's those people that are going to walk the talk. Everybody got something to say, but let's see what you're going to do and put it into practice.
For sure, man. And with that being said, let's go ahead and lead off our show real quick with Roc's Leadership Salute.
Who are you saluting today?
Hey, today we saluting this brother. Now, I posted on one of my social media pages, but this is a brother who, look, first let me paint the picture like this. This is a brother who said, you know what, in the eyes of adversity, if nobody's going to stand with me, if I have to do this alone, I'm going to speak my piece and I'm going to speak my truth. And this is an individual who faced something that's running rampant in the United States of America today, where being falsely accused, being falsely arrested for something that you did not do, where law enforcement have probable cause, but yet they run on the most minute pieces of probable cause, okay? If they have probable cause. And I know for some of our young listeners, they may be like, what's probable cause? And this is why we're here to teach this kind of thing. And with that being said, he was arrested, and it was funny. He's in Florida, okay? He's a commissioner, kind of like a city councilman. And he was like, hey, look, they was doing an award ceremony for, like, the law enforcement officers. You got all the, all the other officials lined up calling officers down to give them their award. So they were near the end. So this brother said, hey, look, I ain't forgot. He calls the law enforcement officer down, and he said, how you doing, sir? You probably don't remember me. But guess what? You falsely arrested me. And guess what? You are not a good officer. As a matter of fact, you're a bad officer. And you shouldn't be getting recognized or awarded for any reason today. So Roc's Leadership Salute is going to go to Commissioner Mike Gillian. Commissioner Mike Gillian. Look him up. That name is Mikegelin. This brother, he stood before. Look, he stood on his own. Salute to that brother. Because he deserves it, man. You know how many people want to do that? And, you know, he didn't put hands on his brother or the police officer. Pretty sure he wanted to. But guess what? He spoke his piece because he was done wrong. He was done wrong, so much so that the charges was dismissed. Okay? And guess what? The mayor of the city, hey, yeah, you was done wrong. But this police officer is getting ready to get recognized for an award?
For good work.
No, man. The same way that I got a mug shot is the same way you're going to get called out right now.
Recognized.
So we're not going to blow over this like it. So what I like about what Mike Gilly did, and I'm going to wrap it up, is that not only did he just speak for him, he spoke for every other person that went through this exact same thing.
Use the platform.
Absolutely. There you go, brother.
Shout out. Represented well.
Yes,
well
he did.
deserved. Well deserved. I saw the post.
Right.
I enjoyed the post. You know, I was like, whoa, he went hard on that one.
Yeah.
He went hard on that one.
You got to, man.
They coming hard at us. And when I say us, I'm not talking about just black men. I'm talking they coming hard at the suspected criminals, because probable cause is just you've done something that causes me to want to search you.
Right.
So
right.
It can be the slightest thing, and they took it too far, and he let you know that it will not be tolerated.
Well, let me ask you this: what would you say to some people who may say, "Hey, look, that you ain't have to do that like that"? If they say Commissioner Mike Gillian, for the position that you're in as an official, as a city official, you ain't have to. What do you say to people who say you didn't have to do it like that?
Listen, man, I've been called the Prince of Petty, so. Listen.
Oh, you too?
Oh, come on. look here, because somebody's gonna say something. Either you went too hard, or you shouldn't have, whatever.
Right.
But for the folks that aren't getting enough recognition, for people that are, you know, there's little talk that the officer gets reprimanded and it stays in house.
Right.
He's still on the street.
Right.
And he gets to do it again. And then he might know the supervisor's not going to, force the issue because it was just some random, minority. I hate that word, but minority that's not going to make any noise. No, let it be recognized that this dude right here is foul, and you need to keep your eye on him to make sure he's not foul again.
Yeah.
And know that if you are foul, I'm still here. I'm going to call you out again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's set a precedence that you are being watched and you're going to be held accountable.
And look at this. You know the beauty of it? You know what that does for his constituents?
Gives him some kind of trust in what he's doing.
Yes. I mean, to me, that's leadership like at its finest. I mean, stand up and guess what? All the other commissioners, I'm not saying they should have jumped in, this, that, and another. That was obviously Mike's thing. But all I'm saying is leadership is having the courage to take action and speak up for yourself and a number of other things when no one else is going to do it with you. And as you know, I've shared some stories with you. I've had to do that. I've been looked at cockeyed and crazy, and people just like, God bless this boy. Like,
Somebody
I had
got
to
to bring attention to it.
Somebody has to.
So.
And once again, I think this is a prime example of our process in helping to cultivate leaders. Cultivate them.
You have to show them that it's not always going to be easy. You're not,
Right.
and we're going. I know we're going to get to it in a few minutes, but you're not always going to have the crew around you.
Nah.
There's a separation of what a leader is, what a follower is, and then that gray area in between. So it's not easy. It's not easy to be a leader, to want to step up and make changes. Leaders don't always have titles. I mean, leaders are the people that are doing the things that make the difference. The influencers. That's what. I mean, how many times have I said, going through the process of influencing.
Right.
Leadership is influence. So sometimes you are the one person, the one thing, you are the one action that's going to make the change. If you don't act, things are not going to change at all. So leadership is hard. Leadership can be lonely. And let's get into it and talk about this other post. The other posts out there.
Yeah.
So, scrolling through Instagram, on the times that I do, we talked about one of my favorite artists, who is sensitive about her stuff. Erykah Badu, I don't know if it was her post or whatever, but she was in a post talking about the percentage of the population. She said 10% of the population are leaders, 5% are observers, and 85% are followers.
Okay.
I tend to agree with that. 10% are leaders, 5%, and the observers are the people that are sitting back watching to see things going on. And there's a different level of leadership in the observer, because they're going to start calling you out and trying to hold you accountable and all that stuff. But the 85% is the big number that they're just waiting for somebody to tell them what to do so things can get done. But that 10%, being in that 10% is hard. That's one in every 10.
Okay.
So that to me is the epitome of what leadership is all about, because it will get lonely, and you're going to be to a point where everybody's not going to understand what you're doing, and as you start doing it, there's going to be somebody there to try to call you out and hold you back, and it's hard to say that those observers are not always on the good side of developing leaders. There's sometimes a test or trying to discredit you, but there are fewer people that are going to call you out, but there are way more people that are just waiting and watching to see what's going to happen, because they don't have the skills, the tenacity, the whatever it takes to be leaders. That 15%, that means that 10% is out there in the cold, out there when no one else is there, when they're creating ideas to solve problems while everybody else is just talking about the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Now, once again, in that 10%, that has to be divvied up, because we, like on our first episode, we was talking about good leaders and bad leaders. What we promote is good leadership, but in that 10%, Erykah Badu, she mentioned leaders. Right. She didn't say good or bad.
It's all about the influence and what direction you're trying to take the organization. I keep saying an organization, but and I don't want to say followers, because that sounds too social media-ish.
Yeah.
But the influence that you put out in the world, what direction is that going? What direction is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where
absolutely.
are you trying to go? Are you trying to get personal gain, or are you trying to help the people around you? I've just become a big critic of a particular leader. I'm gonna do my best not to mention any names.
Okay.
But everything that's happened in the short time this person has been at the top of the leadership game, who has it benefited? Who has benefited? If no one,
you might as well just gonna say the person's name, because we need to. Look. Let me say this, because look, President Trump, right?
Right.
President Trump. I say it like this. All right. Look, I'm not a political analyst or whatever on CNN or whatever the case may be, but I've lived through my share of presidents. Indeed. I've heard the talk. At one point, Reagan, he was the worst thing in the world. Iran-Contra, the job market is horrible. The only people who loved him is far right wingers. So come on, in my neighborhood coming up, man, they never had love for Reagan.
Reaganomics is not a good thing.
All right then. So all I'm saying is, maybe this thing goes in cycles. I'm not fending for President Trump. All I'm saying is, what bad leadership is can be subjective.
Right.
And it's our level. So if we're looking at degrees of what bad leadership is, it's amazing that we utilize the $1 bill for a number of reasons.
True.
So, and the man that covets, well, I ain't gonna say covets or covers the $1 bill, is the founding president of these United States of America, which was an Englishman, which was a slave owner. Now, if we want to sit there and talk about egregious actions and how bad somebody is, it's funny that we have revisionist history. Granted, most of us wasn't living during that time. Almost everybody has a lie today on this planet. I get it. Well, not almost everybody, everybody. But with that being said, you still have access to history books.
True.
It's amazing how we pardon those who have documented historical documentation of the egregious nature of what took place and we gloss over it to brutalize and utilize a people less than human beings, to treat them like cattle. And so if we're gonna measure, if we're just gonna say, well, while I'm living, Trump is the worst thing, all I'm saying is, horrible human beings to gain progress in life, or what they consider to be the greater good, has been around since this country was established. So all I'm saying is, if we're going to call out one word of the day, consistency, let's be very clear about where we are and who we're in the midst of. Because I like to think with that percentage that she came out with, this scale, Erykah Badu, it just doesn't start with us. It starts with from our past, right, our present, and going into our future. And that's why you and I are so vital, because we're here now in this present understanding of the past to build a better future.
You said something a couple of weeks ago, just in conversation, that you said, and it bothered me for a minute, but then I had to sit down and think about it. But you said Donald Trump.
Hold up. I know you ain't talking about nobody bothering nobody. We ain't even gonna tell anybody about the tongue lashing about me getting my stuff together. taking my wife on a trip. I went home and told my wife, I was like, yeah, Damien told me I better get it together so I can take
I mean, we all have our moments, and you know, luckily we don't have cameras in our face.
Right.
But what the first thing before we get to that thing was you said, you know, I was just on a tangent about Trump. It was like, man, America has Trump is the president that America deserves. Or America has a president, something to that effect.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute. I mean, 51% of the women that were at the Women's March 3 months after he was put in office voted for this dude.
Yeah. So
as much as we can say he stole the election, people still voted. He didn't. It wasn't like he got 0 votes and still won.
Right.
This was a decent competition.
Can I add something to that woman demographic that you're talking about? Because when we say 50% of women, let's understand the women that we're talking about. We're talking about baby boomers, women, and we're talking about Gen Xers, women. And because you're crazy if you think that he had a large population of millennial Caucasian women and millennial African American women and millennial Hispanic women that voted for him. Yeah. So we're crazy to think that. So the people who've been around for a while, who already are in the hierarchy of world systems and constructs in these United States of America, they the ones who voted.
So I got a bone to pick with a few other people now.
Go ahead.
But no, I mean, I'm not going to do it here.
Okay.
But the thing is, as much as I talk about the leadership and where it's going, a large percentage of the people have made this happen. And now, I mean, I remember talking to a few people, not just 1 or 2 people, but a few people like, I'm just going to vote for Trump to see what happens.
Oh, wow.
Are you entertained?
Oh.
Because, I mean, that's what it's like. I just want to see what's going to happen.
Right.
And I'm not saying that Hillary Clinton would have been any better, but I think morally, or I don't know, it's just, I can't live off of what if or what could have been, but I just know now that we have a poor example for people to follow to start developing and building young leaders. That's my biggest gripe, that you can't look to the leader of the free world as an example of what right looks like.
Right.
And be he part of the 10% or the 5% of observers and movers and shakers, that's a problem.
Well, here's my quick question, and prayerfully you give me a quick answer. Like, when has that been a thing to do? Let me look at the leader of the free world of these United States of America and use that person. Like, when did that, especially as African American people, when did we use that as a barometer of, now, understanding we're in the United States military, I never looked at it that way, but I can see how people in the military or any armed service or any government, position can look and say, well, I'm in the government and the president is that guy. So thus far it's been a guy. But what I'm saying is, when has a president ever been when I think about the president, and I wasn't alive during this time, on the tail end, civil rights era, I think about, and this is just me and my sanctified imagination, and thank God for Eyes on the Prize, PBS. I think about, you're looking at me like, what? So I'm being serious. Eyes on the Prize really made an impact on my life. Like, to not have lived during that time, that was good television of programming to teach you.
Okay. Man,
Now you can find PBS on whatever. But the point is, I'm getting at is this. I just remember Martin Luther King sitting before President Johnson. You see what I mean? Where are we going with this? Like, it was Martin Luther King made all that stride to get there, and Johnson is like, it was like pulling teeth. Like, what do you want, King? What do you want me to do? You're the president, clown. Do something. So what I'm saying is, that's not even a good example. You see wrong happening, but you're afraid to do something because you don't want to mess up your base and your constituency and so forth and so forth. You don't want to mess up your party, so people are suffering and dying and getting dog sick on them. Don't let me see. All I'm saying, I cannot. When did you become great? When did the president become something that I can imagine? If it's like pulling teeth to get you to do the right thing, you're not. I'm sorry. Do what you gotta do. Make the tough decision. But I guess I just can't, man. And if I'm wrong, because it took more to keep this country afloat than to free a people and treat them equal, which all it took was a stroke of a pen.
I mean, it's not just a stroke of a pen, because if it was just a stroke of a pen, then we're coming up on what, 60 years? Was it 64?
Right.
I can't add right now. So 64 is 2020. So we just shy of 80 years. Is that
right?
What
80 years or
something
what?
like that. 60. The Civil Rights Bill of 1964, right? Is that what? Right?
Yeah, in that timeline, yeah.
So here it is, 2020. We still dealing with some of those same issues, and at least at that time, but
what I'm saying is, if the pen would have met paper earlier, earlier that would have happened, all the progress that we're making now, that progress would have happened sooner. So that's all I'm saying. How many coward?
The leadership.
I'm gonna say it like this. Let me get myself in trouble. How many coward presidents did nothing? Come on, man. They did nothing. Some of them wanted things to stay the same. True. So that's all I'm saying. I just can't go with revisionist history and act like all these guys was the same. I'm gonna say this one last thing. I'm gonna let you talk. Because somebody asked me, they was like, you voted for Obama. Like, yeah, I did. They want to know my deep reason of why I voted for him. I said, watch this. Let me give you this. If you ate vanilla ice cream all your life, then somebody finally gave you some chocolate, I rest my case. What's the number one flavor in ice cream? Chocolate ice cream. Chocolate is the number one flavor. Which one came out first? Vanilla. Come on, man. They got all these other ice creams, pralines and cream and Jamocha almond fudge and da-da-da-da-da. All I'm saying is, about time we got an option. About time we got a choice. So what we gonna do? You gonna knock people for wanting to exercise a choice? So
that's back to here, because it's a choice that he's there. He didn't kick in the door, but like, I'm here, you can't kick me out. Somebody's like, yeah, he's the dude. I want to see what happens. For whatever reason you voted for him. And but the challenge for me as trying to develop leaders of character.
Yeah.
That's the last character you
right.
You know,
so he's kind of like a base model of saying, this is what you don't want to do.
But in the 10% that Erykah Badu talked about,
okay,
how many of them are like him?
That's a good question.
You know, how many people do we have to worry about that are going to be selfish, narcissistic leaders that don't listen to anybody but yes men?
Right.
You know, if it's such a small percentage of leaders, how many? And I don't know if she was going. I mean, it was a 30-second, 1 minute, whatever it was. It was an Instagram clip, so it wasn't that deep of a conversation. But the fact that she broke it down to say there's only 10% of the population leaders and 85% of followers, you know, that 5% is, you know, on something else. But we got to sharpen that 10% and get them and show them what right looks like. So that 10% understands common decency, so that we can kind of, you know, weed out and smother out the ignorance that we have as an example right now. And that's just like, that's small of a number. How many are working for the common good? You know, it's like the influence, how many people are improving the situation, or how many people are just standing up with the voice that have charisma to draw people to you and make things better.
And I think the other thing is the definition of, you know, what is leadership in that 10%. So what I'm asking is, like, who are these people? Like, are these the Zuckerbergs of the world? Are these the Elon Musk of the world? Like, some would say those are leaders because they're leading in their field. There's leaders. Now, are these the politicians of the world? Are these the entertainers of the world? So she didn't make it clear about who are these leaders.
Right.
Because you and I have talked on a number of occasions, and I think you and I are of the same, because coming from a military background, and this is most anybody who work in any kind of organization, not so much military, but military still much, so much so that we are committed to a system,
right?
A way of being, a way of life, not people. The system dictates that we show decorum and render respect.
Right.
The system demands that. That kind of system is implemented in certain other places, but I still think a lot of people still like to lean on the person, like respect the knowledge and the know-how of the person. Like a lot of times we didn't have that luxury. Like, doesn't matter how much they really know. Like you can sit there and assume, like, man, he or she don't know much. They're not sharp. Doesn't matter. The system says you render respect and you follow. So we're in a different class. It works. We figure it out eventually. But everybody else in other organizations, I think that crumbles real quick if you're not sharp on your game. You get, you just get ate alive by your peers or by your subordinates.
Being where we are now, because we don't have to sit and we can voice an opinion.
Yeah.
And we can start calling things out for what they are. And I mean, my big thing is the president, but there's so many other levels.
Right.
I mean, we go to, your leadership salute with Mike Gillen.
Yeah.
I mean, that is indeed a leader.
Yeah.
Because he's going to go against the grain. He's going to do the things that need to get done.
Right. And it wasn't for just his own personal gain.
Right.
Even though he acknowledged a situation that happened to him, but I'm pretty sure he understood. I'm speaking for so many other people
that don't have a voice.
Right. And that have been through the same thing. And if you live in this county, in this city, guess what? You have a friend in me, and we're not going to tolerate this. You know how butthurt, whatever police union that was, you know how butthurt they probably are right now? Yeah, the mayor probably got so many phone calls. You get what I'm saying? But guess what? It takes that leadership to make people uncomfortable and to shake things up. And a lot of times I would say this, and this is what we got to impress upon everybody who really feels they sit within that 10%. Because once again, to go back to a point I was trying to make earlier, you and I have discussed on many a time on who is really leaders in the community. Because in today's society, we want to crown anybody who has a certain status or makes a certain amount of money.
Right.
We just want to crown anybody. And once again, if you make it into the political realm, no matter what city, what state, what county, we just automatically think that person's a leader. Why? Why is that person a leader? Because they ran for office and got elected? Like, what makes them really a leader? Would you consider somebody way much younger than you? I know I'm about to really irritate some people on this one, but this is true. Somebody younger, they don't have kids. They're not married. Barely got a girlfriend. Just got out of high school, not even out of college. How would you, that person's a leader of what? Themselves? Who are they leader of? They're a leader of whoever decides to be in a little entourage. What I'm saying is, before we go so full blown, especially to say, well, this is a leader in the community. What makes this person a leader in the community? And you heard me say
action.
This. Just because you out action on what?
You're taking that. But see, we're talking about building the future, right?
I get it.
So there's an opportunity. Now, I get it that there's a lot more to learn. That there's a lot of things. There's a lot more to learn.
A lot more.
But you have to take the opportunity.
A lot.
But okay,
more.
So who else though? And I get that we just can't put anybody in place. That 10% is getting smaller and smaller now because we're talking about leaders of character, not just people.
I'm just saying, I think we just need to define and say, yeah, you know
what?
That you're a leader. True. You're a leader in your office.
We keep saying, like, what does right look like? What does a leader look like? We need to define things clearly.
You're a personal leader. You're a leader of yourself. Whoever is in your entourage,
charisma
in
matters,
your charisma, charisma has nothing to it has something to do with leadership. Experience matters. Yes, it does. But all I'm saying is, I guess I'm kind of hung up on this. How are we crowning people these leaders? Because we skip over full quality, full all the intricacies of what a leader is. We skip over that to just go to the most shallow aspects of leadership. Finance, position. And we look at those, then we get hurt. So when a Kanye says something, all of a sudden we get hurt. Whoa, 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 whoa. Kanye was your leader. See, you don him as a leader because he has status, he can make an album, this, that, and another. But the moment he says something you don't like, you got a problem. Oh, Steve Harvey was your leader. But as soon as he has an opinion and he goes and meets with Trump, whatever, that's totally might be against what you stand for. Now all of a sudden, but why did you crown that man a leader? Guess what? And some of these people didn't ask to be your leader. True. Or leader in the community. So I think it's unfair on both sides. So that's what I'm saying. Let's be clear and let's not be so quick as a people, as a shallow people, to just be like, you know what? You popping on IG? You must be a leader. You made it through the record industry, you must be a leader.
It's like Charles Barkley back in the day.
I
am not your role model.
Thank you.
And okay. I mean, and today Charles Barkley is not a role model. He's not my role model, but it's like we force people into
No. Can you say the other part? Why he said that? You know why he said that? Because he was talking about you. Seriously. The reason why he said he wasn't a role model because he mentioned you, and when I'm talking about mentioning you, he mentioned your skill set, your position.
It was a long time ago.
I'll remind you. He said, you know what? Doctors, lawyers, educators. That's what he said. He justified it by saying, y'all looking at me, so I have God-given ability. I'm 6'4", 6'5". I'm heavy and can jump out the gym. I have natural talent. You trying to call me a leader? Why? Because I use my natural ability in a system that was set up for tall people? Like I'm getting paid millions of dollars because I have a God-given gift. But the people who have labored and went through college and are striving to educate and better other people, everything you just keep saying, who's reaching out to other people to make them better and make them work, and I'm going to work right along with them? That's what he was talking about. You, because I say you because I'm not an educator. I'm educated, but I'm not an educator. I'm not by degree a licensed educator.
Please, we get overlooked so much.
Right. So that's my point. So Charles knew all along, but we still want to crown. We still want to do it. Why? Because he makes a certain amount of dollar. So what we're doing as a society, since Charles can donate $100,000, my $100 means nothing. That's what we do. You can't be a leader because your pocket's only stretched as long as to 100. What are you affecting with your 100?
It goes back to how we interpret influence. And when I say we, I'm talking about society as a whole.
Right.
Because it goes back to that young leader that's doing great things. He's a leader because he can exert influence on young people and start shaping the future.
You know what? I still push on that. I hear you and I agree with you, but I still push on it. Because you know why I push on it? You know why I push on it? Because we got to be so clear. Like my thing is, I like thinking about leadership and influence like surgeon instruments. Like we need to be precise. Surgery is a precise thing.
True.
We're gonna cut here, we're gonna go in here, we're gonna microscopic, cuts here and put in the camera and can't mess with anything else. And even if we do mess with it, we put it all back, but we gotta be here, nowhere else.
Right.
And we're deliberate in that thing that we're trying to do. And it has to be pinpointed, it has to be meaningful. Like it has to, like this gotta work. Like this has to work. Like, so what I'm getting at is this, and watch this. Now it has to work for this reason. And we're really building upon something. Like you ever seen like somebody has like a they may have like a heart murmur or have heart palpitations or they got something going on with heart and they got like this mesh, kind of like, not like exactly like this, but it's a tougher type mesh that they've come with throughout the years through heart surgery.
Yeah.
They can put this mesh over your heart and your heart can keep beating and going. Like it won't dissolve or go away and just fail. It's a deliberate piece of fabric and mesh that really can help a situation. So what I'm getting at is, just because you can influence people into wanting to do something, what's your purpose? What are we really getting at? And watch this, how effective are you? Just doing something for the sake of doing something is never the goal. That's what I'm getting at. That should never be the goal, because this is what we do. And I'm sorry for just kind of, I definitely want you to enlighten us. And I'm just going to be bold to say it, because I just know where we come from. You've never done anything just to be, I'm here, I'm in this position, because if all it is, it'd be just vainglorious and yay to you. Just you did it.
But that speaks to purpose. That speaks to, what you're doing and how you influence and what you're about. It's all about what you're about. Purpose drives everything.
I get it. But the purpose is bigger than you.
It is.
That's what I'm getting at.
And it takes more than just me as the old dude. I mean, a lot of places I go, I'm the old dude in the room.
Season.
Say what you want.
Salt and pepper.
Season. Look, but I'm the old guy in the room, and it's gonna take me saying something. Is like, okay, that's just the old dude. But when a younger person says something, it's about growing alliances and connections to. If we're trying to build the future, we gotta reach back, and because everybody's not gonna listen to me. I have influence and impact on certain people. I can get a 12-year-old to do what I gotta do, and I may be a 12-year-old's hero, and hey, that's good on me. But I tell you what, if it's easy for me to get a 24-year-old, an 18-year-old.
I'm burning up, man. I'm fuming over here.
We still have to make connections.
So a black man that's married, going on 20 plus years, a black man that got 2 daughters, one in college, one in high school, neither one of them pregnant, neither one of them drugged out. So that don't mean nothing. That ain't no leader that I gotta listen to, man.
It means a lot.
Why are we carrying it like it means a lot everywhere? No, hold on. It means a lot everywhere. It means a lot in the community in which you live.
True.
It means a lot in this radio station right now.
But
it
understand
means a
that
lot
people aren't going to see it. Everybody's not looking at that.
And we need to make them look at that. That's part of. I can't come on here and just act like
that's the influence piece.
Right.
That's the influence.
So you're just not the old dude.
I am the old dude. But the old dude is still making connections with the youngins, so that when they start to develop and get older, they start to make certain decisions and go after certain actions.
All right, but you was kind of going in the area like they ain't listening to you.
I'm not saying they're not listening. I still have my connections. I still have, I'm still building bridges.
Right.
But I can't build the bridge all the way back. So we need these youngins to step up and be in the leadership role.
And they need us.
And they do. I'm not saying that we don't. We just step out and not be there.
I know you wasn't saying that, but I just feel good to say
they have us. They have us.
Do they?
They do.
Do they?
I know.
Who they got? Us, me, and you.
They got a few more of us.
How many?
I'd say
How many?
The impact that we made, and this has been a couple of years.
Right.
We go back 4 years ago, when it was with me, you, and Sizer in the building, and Mr. Paris. We can't forget Mr.
Shout out to Mr. P.
So the 4 of us in one place changed the environment. That change trickled down into young leaders who are now serving around the world, and they have a different look, a different aspect, a different thought of how the Army can be, what the Army is, and what their role is in building the future.
Right.
And that's all it comes out to. So they have to be in a leadership role, be it position or, you got all the money, Everybody has a rich uncle in their family, a rich uncle, rich auntie. Somebody in your family you thought had money. I am the rich. Hey, it's okay. But then everybody got one, right?
Yeah.
So, but you had somebody who was like, yo, every time I go and see this person, be it take me to the ice cream truck. Okay, maybe not everybody. 90%, 15%, 10% of us do.
Right.
Look. There's that little bit of that everybody has somebody they can look up to.
Yeah, for sure.
So it may not always be granddad or dad,
right?
Because you can have a conversation with your daughter and say the exact same words that I say to your daughter, and it'll click when I say it because it's not dad's voice.
I crack them about that all the time.
But that's just the way it is.
I don't care.
That's just the way it is.
I change it. I'm not having it because you know why? And it's not that I'm trying to be domineering. It's not that. It's a pride thing. it's a thing of I want you to operate in wisdom early as you possibly can.
Right.
Understand that the sources, like
but with age comes wisdom. So you're giving it to them too early.
With experience as well comes wisdom.
But it takes time to
so
get
much
experience.
Just as age. I get you. You're
And
right.
you get older in
You're
time.
right. But that's why I have to continue to be. I told somebody this today, and this is so true in my house. Because both you and I both, we do public speaking, and we like to give our inspiration and motivation, and I like to say reality. But my first dose of that every day is in my own household. Every day, I sound off more in my own house. My best stuff. I said I want to just turn on my recorder in my house and don't even know that nobody knows that it's on. My best stuff is at home.
Man, my audience talks back at home.
Oh
They was like, well, I might want to. It's. I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying to stop doing it because they're not listening.
I know you're
but
not.
It's just a matter of
No, you made a valid point. Yeah,
having a connection.
Yeah.
Because I may say something to. It's just like I talk about Rita all the time. I can tell Rita something, and sometimes it's like, okay, that's the old dude. But as he gets older, he's like, yo,
absolutely,
you were right. Okay, so you planting a seed.
Yeah.
These young leaders that are in position are fertile ground.
Right.
The Chinese proverb, it's a Chinese proverb I saw on Instagram, so I don't know how Chinese it is, but it says if you wanna affect the future in your 10 years, if you wanna affect next year, plant rice. If you wanna affect 10 years, plant trees. If you wanna affect 100 years, plant wisdom. So you give people, it takes time. Sow your seed now, and it's gonna go, because you're not gonna be here. Well, you're not gonna be in the same position 10 years from now, and the 20 somethings are gonna be 30 something now, and then the 16 and 18-year-olds they're dealing with are gonna be old and like, yo, remember when you said this? Or we've had a 12-year relationship where I've been sewing into you and you've been helping me out. I talk about reverse mentorship all the time. It's not always about me giving to you as a mentor. It's like you give me something back too. It may be the way I dress. I'm gonna go to a party and like, no, don't wait. So just change up my outfit, and I get a little bit more, notoriety. I'm like, oh, the old, I keep saying the old dude. Nobody calls me old,
right?
But, I got a bunch of nephews that are not my brother and sister's children. Like, hey, Unc, check me out, or Unc got it going on, whatever it may be. There's a connection to that person. I'm sewing into them, and then they go out and they sew into their little space, and then that is a continuous process.
Right.
So as we talk about this 10% and trying to figure out who are the righteous leaders in that 10%, I know that I'm sowing into some young men and some young people that will be righteous leaders in their time. And as I try to say as much as possible, 2 of them are in my house.
Okay.
So what I say to them, they hear it, and a lot of times it comes back to me, and it sounds crazy because they start to talk like I talk.
Right.
I call people chief all the time. Hey, chief, and my daughters will call me chief, and like, so I just got to check myself, like, what? Am I crazy?
Right.
But it's not disrespectful, but it's just coming back that the wisdom is starting to manifest itself in their life, and they're like, yo, that if you're not going to accept crazy, I'm not going to accept crazy. So we need to figure out what so the youngins are necessary.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're necessary.
Absolutely.
And the impact that they have is just a matter of the circles that they're in.
Well, with that being said, you're absolutely right. Young people are necessary. A lot of times they're a valuable commodity. Okay, we look at it like that and I don't mean commodity in a bad way, like you're just some object, just to be done with and do something with. What I mean in commodity as in like our survival and our longevity.
Right.
How you carry on legacies is through whatever young ones that you have an influence on. And what I always harp on, and I'm such an advocate for unity, for one, because because I said this one time to somebody, and I really want to do something with this. I just haven't gotten around to it. Like we always got so many ideas. Like that book you got from y'all got like 3-4 books at home with jotted down stuff. So what I want to do is I ask a couple of young people not too long ago. I said, how many elders do you have a relationship with outside of your grandmother and your grandfather or great aunt? How many elders do you literally have a reciprocal relationship with? They could answer nothing, nobody. And most of them probably didn't even have grandmothers and grandfathers, or they just have a grandmother. And at this point, grandma, God bless her and God bless grandpa, is just more so, let me love you. Hey, come here, baby. Give you some kisses. But all that knowledge, like I tell my children all the time, I say, y'all have a living grandmother. You know how much knowledge that your living grandmother has? And when I'm talking about knowledge, I'm talking about experience, and she has understanding from a time that I wasn't even affected by because I wasn't living at that time. My mother-in-law came up through segregated schools in the South.
Yeah. Man, if your parents are born in the 50s.
Right. You know how many lessons is it in talking to her? So what I'm saying is
1964 wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago. So what I'm saying is, how do we, and I don't know if we don't have to answer this now, but one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to bridge the gap. I want to bridge the gap between elders and young people more so than just being around, just being nice to one another. That's fine. That has its place. Like, hey, just respecting the elders. Hey, how you doing, Mr. So-and-so and such and such and so? Just coming to play some checkers with you. I get that. No, I want to get some young people around some elders. Like, we want to listen. We want to hear you talk. Like, we want to hear the stories. We want to hear what was going on. We want to hear your life's experience. We want to know what it's like to work at a plant for 30 years and retire. How did you do that? Okay, I want to hear these things. I want to know how you made it to the military and you still survived. I want to hear that, because the thing is, we're missing that, because guess who's the elders are? Us. We're the elders. And that's, in my mind, that's ridiculous. We're the elders. When we got 60, 70, and 80-year-olds that have a wealth of knowledge and experience to give us, but we've isolated them out. Because you alluded to it. You kind of backed off a little bit and said what it is. And I respect that. And you was making it clear, but you still said it. You're the old guy, and we're not quick to listen to you. And you're not wrong in saying that. So now the ones you built relationship with, and the reason why I'm harping on this so much is because, yes, the ones you build relationship with, and I understand relationship is key. Yeah. You got to have a connection, and they'll listen to you. But whatever happened to looking at you, just looking at you? If I'm 8 and I'm looking at a man, that should mean something. Yeah, regardless if you made me a hot dog, or regardless if you bought me some penny candy, regardless if you patted me on the back and told me I can really throw a football, regardless if the connection was made yet, there should be a reverence. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's part of what's lost, and that's part of what's lost in the way we get things done, because everything it's become so quick, and everything is quick and new.
Right.
And right. On social media, a tweet the lifespan of a tweet is 10 minutes. If you're not on Twitter when I post my tweet, you will not see it.
No, you ain't gonna see it.
Unless you got your what is that, your alert or whatever the thing is. When I tweet, you see it. And there's a few people that okay, I see that. But for the most part, I'm not there. And it's gone.
Right.
It's like it's a flash in the pan. And that's part of the it is a challenge, and it's a noble cause for you to go out. I do, and it is necessary.
We can't be like this, man. Like, there can't be any. I mean, we do it in everything else.
It's still a challenge.
When we were talking about presidents, right? Former presidents are touring this country, making millions of dollars, giving their know-how.
Because people, it's still there. It's the challenge of what people want. Mm-hmm. Commercialism runs our lives. What sells? What's hot? And I mean, when you have organizations, see, people aren't paying that money to.
Right.
They're not. People aren't giving Obama $100,000. Obama or the Clintons, either one of them, $100,000, $250,000 to come in and speak. I mean, there's speakers that we look at on Instagram, and I was talking to somebody trying to get one to come to their church. There's pastors out here charging $50,000 for you to come to speak at a church. $50,000, but people aren't paying that. You and I aren't paying that. Organizations are.
Right.
So that there's still some influence that old people have. Old money goes a long way.
Absolutely.
And these organizations have old money.
Absolutely.
But they also pay attention to what's hot right now.
Right.
So, and that's the way. That's what the youngins are for. They keep things. They keep us with. They let us know what's hot right now, and then you go over and you build this track record. So when you do get seasoned, you still have worth and value in the marketplace.
So much when we talk about. I hear what you. I get it. What's hot right now? I just like what's hot. The baby is hot right now. Like Megan Thee Stallion is hot right now. Like I just.
Hot girl fall needs to go ahead and come on.
I'm just saying. So that's why we have to be there. I get it. If you want to feed, like you said, commercialism. If you want to feed just a temporary situation, then this is why I went earlier, because we're coming up on 10 to the hour. It's not actually to the hour. I know we got to do Damien's Iron Supplement, but this is why I'm so tough on the fact that we need to have precision and we need to be direct on what leadership is and how we implement leadership and how we use influence. Because if you and I are not the voices, the new voices,
what's hot right now?
That's right. That's right. We'll have a lot of entertainers in places where we should be, and the entertainer's gonna sit there and say, "Well, y'all ain't there. That's why we here." Seriously. I mean, I'm not saying that entertainer doesn't have any input or doesn't have any know-how. Well, all I'm saying is, but when it comes down to what really needs to be said, or what, or who really has the application. My thing is, all respect. If you're trying to show somebody how to cut a demo and how to get a deal or how to be independent, I'm gonna fall back. But if we want to talk about how to operate within a working class world, yeah, that might be something.
But see, that's
where I
part of
need
it,
to be
though.
in there.
Everybody, the more people want to try to cut the demo than live in a working class world.
Yeah, and I saw those people when I was recruiting them, so I got you. I hear you. You want to do it.
I mean, and that's what comes.
And
that's what
point
comes
five
down
of you
to.
might do it.
You got to choose your goal wisely.
Right.
You got to choose a goal wisely so that you can have a viable plan, so you're doing work that's worthwhile. Because it's one thing to just be busy. Activity does not equal accomplishment.
Yeah.
So clarity matters. Defining what right looks like, defining what leadership is, defining what I talked to a young fighter pilot, a Canadian fighter pilot.
Okay.
In fact, came to my class a couple of days ago, and he was talking to kids, and he told them that he knew at 14 years old what he wanted to do.
Okay.
So he's 26 now. So a decade has passed, and he's successful at doing what he set out to do. And that's what we need to teach people, to go through the process and understand that the process takes time. Trust the process. Stop looking for what's hot right now. Stop looking for the flash in the pan. It takes time to boil that water. Because when it flashes in the pan, it's gone. It's that quick.
Hey, check it out. Before we get into the Iron Supplement, man, let's do this. Because we got 2 minutes until we get into the Iron Supplement. For those who are in that 85% realm or of followers, and those that are in that 5% realm of just watching, and they're like, I got something in me. I got leadership potential. I got leadership attributes. What would you say for them to get out of that?
What do you mean, to get out of that mode?
Yeah, just get out of that. I mean, and I hate to even put the percentage with it, because let's just say I don't know what poll this was. I don't know. But all I'm saying is I've heard it before. It's about this.
My favorite album.
But what would you tell for somebody who say, look, I feel I have, attributes of being a good leader. I feel like,
lead. Go work. See, get out there and do it. Find a cause. Find something worth working towards,
right,
and go work. I mean, I say it all the time. Work. Stop talking about what you're going to do and go do it. It's about the work.
Right.
That's what's separating you. And the youngins that are in leadership positions have put in the work to be in that position. You know, the folks that are selling a million records and getting the notoriety, they put in work to be in front of people. I mean, you know, Steve Harvey is doing a lot of great things, and I don't agree with all of them, but he's doing a lot of great things for young people behind the scenes, but he's working.
Right.
He's putting, I mean, he'll tell you every time he talks to kids, he said, it's not a day you turn the TV on and don't see my face, because he's working. So find the cause and work it. Work. Find it and work. And then if the work you're not doing isn't right, make adjustments. Go through, assess, and figure out what's going on. Get with people who know what they're doing, who have done what you're doing, and learn from them. Because you can't learn anything from a 1-minute clip. I mean, we've that 1-minute clip of Erykah Badu has give us everything we needed for today.
Absolutely.
But it's coming with other experiences. You got to get out there and experience some things for yourself. You got to fall. You got to scuff up your knee. You got to walk into the wall. You got to learn the fire is hot. And sometimes some people will see, okay, ooh, he burnt the mess out of his hand. I don't want to do that, so I won't touch that. But some people like, nah, that don't feel that bad, until they put their hand in the fire, and now they learned their lesson too. Everybody learns a different way.
Right.
So get involved. Do what you got to do to get what you got to get.
Got it. Now, with that being said, we're talking about fire. Damien's getting ready to drop some fire on us real quick with the Iron Supplement. This is DR 2020. Let's go, D.
As iron sharpens iron, so do men sharpen one another. And we're talking about influencing the young and the old, and leaders and followers. So I was just thinking, it's like, so how do we make that connection? And the connection that I found was the great Maya Angelou quote. People will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they won't forget how you made them feel. That motivation of emotion. You know, if somebody pisses you off, you remember that. And every time you see him, you're doing your best to one up them. It's like Kobe Bryant's motivation to be the best. I watched a lot of Kobe Bryant over the last couple of days. He felt like he wanted to be the best. He knew when he was being challenged, and that made him step up and work even harder. Like, he would stay in the gym. You know, he would not leave the gym until you left the gym, because he knew that once I leave, you're going to feel like you're better than me. You didn't do anything, but you made me feel like you were trying to be better than me, and I'm going to push that much. Whatever you said, I don't remember what you said to me. I don't remember what you were doing in the gym, but I remember how I felt when we were in there. And that feeling, that emotion is what pushes people forward. That's how we make a connection. That's how I get to be on. You know, that's how when I get to be a part of the success and help you in the journey, that you listen, because I've done things to help you feel good, and when I've given you correction or direction, it's worked out, and you know that it's worthwhile. You'll forget what I said, you forget what I did, but you never forget how I made you feel.
That's dope. That's dope. Hey, that was Damien's Iron Supplement. Hey, look, y'all tune in to DR 2020, and we made it happen this week. Hey, tune in next week. Tune in every Thursday between the hours of 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be with DR 2020. Hey, the Leadership Podcast. Hey, we the leaders that you...
The mentors that
the
you
mentors
didn't know you had.
That's it. Hey,
New voices.
The new voices. Hey, we appreciate y'all being with us. Hey, salute to everybody. Y'all be safe. Until next time.
Be safe out there in them streets.